What's up, y'all? Welcome to another episode of the Go with the Flow podcast. I'm Brandon Bird.
I'm Jasper
I'm
Reid.
Chris. Oh,
My bad.
That's what I was on these Zoom podcasts.
yeah, I'm sure you can tell from the title, but we got a lot of music to talk about. So, we thought bring another expert, to
Facts.
come discuss with us. So
Someone I've been talking music with for a long time. I guess we should go into the top 10 albums of the year. We might have to split this into two different parts for the episode. This is a long episode, but hey, there's a lot of music that came out this year that we got to get through.
All right. So 10 through 6 again. My 10th favorite album of the year was Heaven or Hell by Don Toliver. Introduced to Mr. Tolliver on Can't Say off Astroworld. And
Yes, sir.
I swear, if Travis Scott had included features, Don Toliver would have blown up 2018 without a doubt. Like, if you were able to look at that song and know that Don Toliver was the guy who absolutely bodied his verse, you would have gone straight to it, listened to his Donnie Womack LP, and just been blown away by this guy. He makes great music and would strongly recommend. I mean, he blew up this year without a doubt. And ninth place, I have the Shoot for the Stars, Aim for the Moon album by Pop Smoke. I thought every song on here contributed something else, massive variety, and just so much fun to listen to. Like, despite the fact that, yes, it is a posthumous album, and that, of course, brings a level of sadness to it, he just encapsulates so much fun on some of the songs and just so much talent and production and lyrics on others, and just to create a really strong overall album. For my eighth pick, I wasn't entirely sure where to put it. Spent a lot of time thinking about this one, but I have it as Man on the Moon 3 by Kid Cudi. Never been the biggest fan of his music, but this album I thought was incredible. Specifically, the second half after the song with Pop Smoke and Skepta, going down from there is just an outstanding run. In seventh, I have Circles by Mac Miller, another posthumous album that was just so beautiful and poignant and just an incredible send-off to his body of work. And at six, I have 3:15:20 by Childish Gambino. A very weird album, but at the same time, I found myself just getting lost in it. Like, there was no one song besides 53:49 that really stood out to me, but it was the entire body of work together that you could just listen to whenever you were doing anything and find pleasure in it. So those are my 10 through 6 albums of the year.
All right. The album list, I realized honestly when I had to make this that I hadn't listened to enough of these albums like all the way through. So I hadn't listened to enough albums fully through this year. But my list for number 10, I have their posthumous album. I have Legend Never Die, the Juice WRLD album. It wasn't my favorite, but I liked a number of the songs on there. I really enjoyed, and so I thought it was nice to have some more music from him. And that was obviously really sad. He's a very talented dude. At number 9, I have I don't know. I guess it's like a deluxe, but the F Love Savage the Kid Laroi album, which I don't know. I know I think a lot of people hate on him, but I enjoy his music. I know it's a lot of sad stuff, but for me, even though the words are sad, since the beats are kind of fast and melodic, it's always like enjoyable listening to his songs. At 8, I have Shoot for the Stars, Aim for the Moon. Jasper's had a ton of good songs on there, just up and down. And the type of songs that I feel like you can listen to later on and they're still enjoyable. You don't really get tired of them as much. Number 7, I have Burden of Proof. It's a little old school vibes.
Yes,
I would not have listened to it. I'll tell you, I would not have even heard of that album if it wasn't for Brandon for the podcast episode that we did. But I think I re-listened to that like last week or this week when I was trying to finalize this list, and I really enjoyed that one. So, and it was a little change of pace from what I normally listen to, obviously, but it was still a lot of fun. And then number 6, I have My Turn. I mean, I mentioned a bunch of times, but Lil Baby had a great year, and that album, it was a lot of fun to listen to, and it showed his growth. So yeah, it's my 10 to 6.
Big facts. All right. So my 10 through 6, well, I'll start with my 10, obviously. So my 10th favorite album of the year was Chilombo by Jhené Aiko. I just thought it was a really good mix between uh just like happy or like low key heartbroken vibes, but like also making way to kind of find the balance between like I'm heartbroken, but also like I don't need you. I'm gonna move on and still live my best life. So it was a mix between happy and sad that was just I felt was very perfect. My ninth album had to be The Slow Rush by Tame Impala, which is a person that I really kind of got put onto last year, and I really enjoyed Currents by Tame Impala, but the Slow Rush, which I kind of really just listened to because I heard that it might be a really good album that came out this year. I loved the theme of like you only have so much time, so make the most of it, and it was just an album all about time and making the most of it, and I really enjoyed it. At number 8, I have Burden of Proof by Benny the Butcher. Um, Griselda went crazy this year, and I think Benny is honestly he's probably the best member. It's kind of like the combination of Benny the Butcher and the bars that he brings to the table and Hit Boy's insane production, along with the amazing features like Freddie Gibbs, Rick Ross, West Side Gun, obviously Conway. They all killed it. At number 7, I have Only for Dolphins by Action Bronson, which is I don't know. I haven't listened to a lot of Action Bronson in the past, but I just love this album because of Action Bronson's like witty bars and also just the beats by a bunch of different producers that just sound very, very. They have very lush vibes to them. And then at number 6, I have My Turn by Lil Baby. Like everyone else has said, Lil Baby has shown a lot of growth this year, and I think it really showed through on this album. So that's my 10 through 6.
All right. We're finally getting some overlap in some of the picks, like with Burden of Proof and Shoot for the Stars, which just goes to show that despite all three of us having different music tastes, that some albums really shine through. And if there's any overlap, like you got to check it out. You can get all three of us to agree on something. My fifth favorite album of the year, famously snubbed at the Grammys, is After Hours by The Weeknd. Just a chilling album through and through. Beautiful, incredible production, incredible verses. Just an outstanding album that definitely deserved at least a nomination.
Yep. Honestly, that was part of where our inspiration for this whole episode came from, was that the Grammys are bad at their job. So we had to find someone who's better at their job to
do it ourselves.
So yeah, at number 5, I have King's Disease, which did get a nomination. And I'll be honest, I didn't listen to that until sometime this past week. And that album, I had so much fun listening to it. And I know, I mean, it's definitely a little bit different from a lot of the music that I listen to usually. So maybe that's part of why I liked it. But I don't know. I had a lot of fun listening to it. I put a few songs already on my playlist from that. So I don't know. I think my favorite so far is Spicy, with A$AP Ferg and Fabio. Fabio?
I keep hearing people say Fabio, but it's spelled like Fivio.
Coming off of Nazir, which had some highlights in my opinion, especially when he said vaccines didn't work. But to come back out with the King's Disease, really, really incredible to think that when your debut album came out in like 1994, to still be making top quality music in 2020 is just amazing. Personally, my favorite song up there was Car 85. I thought it was both beautiful and storytelling, but great album through and through. Couldn't agree more, Chris.
Big facts. So my number 5 album of the year, had to be Alfredo by Freddie Gibbs and Alchemist. Originally, I had this a lot higher, but there were so many great albums this year. I don't know. I couldn't choose, but I still love this album. I think every song is amazing. I mean, especially they have, Scotty Beam on there, Frank Lucas, and then Something to Rap About. Those are my three of my favorite songs of the year. I think Freddie Gibbs absolutely kills it with the bars, keeping it interesting, keeping it witty, but also speaking facts. And then you have Alchemist literally not missing on any of the beats. Alchemist killed it this year, and especially on Alfredo, I think he did an amazing job with the beats on that album. So that's my number 5.
I agree a little bit more because I have Alfredo at number 4. So just everything Brandon said, but turn it up maybe 1.1, and that's my take on the album.
I got a little homework to do. I haven't listened to. I'm gonna need y'all to send me your list, by the way. Like, yeah, I'm gonna spend the rest of my year just listening to all this music. But at number 4, I have I have Virgo World. I know. Okay, musically, yeah, it's not the best. It's not like it's not telling a story or any of that, but it was fun, and I pretty much like everything that Lil Tecca puts out. So, I mean, I enjoy listening to it. I think that it's almost hard to make a good album when you're that type of artist because it's more just how many of the songs are enjoyable, and to make the songs that are like different enough, change up the flows and the beats enough that they're actually individually enjoyable. I think it's pretty difficult to do, but I had a lot of fun listening to the album. There was a bunch of good songs on there, so yeah, I have it at 4.
No, that's totally fair, bro. I mean, like at the end of the day, music is to be listened to and enjoyed. So whatever is enjoyable to you, and I thought that was a good album too, as well. And I have a lot of songs off that album in my playlist. And yeah, what Chris said at the beginning of his pick, like if y'all want us to include our playlist in the link in the descriptions below, so y'all can check them out, just let us know. We'll figure out a way to do it if y'all want. But yeah,
link them or something.
Yeah. And y'all have had some music in your list already that I want to check out after we're done with this. So yeah, my number 4 album of the year had to be No Pressure by Logic. Like I just thought it was a great album. I've been a Logic fan since like The Incredible True Story, his last good album before No Pressure. And it has been a wild ride through the last 5 years of being a Logic fan. We've just been waiting. We have been waiting for a good Logic album, and we finally got one on his last one. And I'm so happy for him that he went out on a high note because the last 5 years obviously have been tough for him. But I mean, all the way through this album, I just love that we were able to kind of be able to take a trip through Logic's mind, through being in a dark place because of everything that the slander that he's gotten over the past 5 years, through the highlights like Celebration, even Hit My Line, I love, and kind of getting to peer into the new chapter of his life that he's going into because he's retiring now, which so I'm just at the end of the day, love that album. I'm very happy for Logic, so that's my number 4.
Yeah, I can't describe the emotions of like going into that album with so much fear, and then the first track is just so much fun to listen to. And just knowing the second you hear him start rapping that it finally happened. Like
he made a good song. He made a good album. Oh,
like that first track just completely sets the tone for the album. He's bringing his A game, and you're in for a fun ride. It's now top 3. Brandon put me onto this album in late November, so I've had approximately 30 odd days for it to leapfrog everything else I'd listened to. That being the self-titled Leon Mahavas album. My first time listening to it was on a rainy day, just kind of sitting, looking out of the window. And oh man, from the intro, Bittersweet, just sending shivers up my spine, down to Can't Fight being one of my top songs of the year, just through and through beautiful and powerful and just so pleasant to listen to. Makes you feel loved. Makes you feel like you're being back in your mother's womb. That's what it feels like.
That's facts, bro. I'm gonna save my thoughts on it because I have it coming up on my list. So save my thoughts on it. But yeah, beautiful album.
That's on my homework list, but My number three album, I have Eternal Take, man. And one thing that's crazy about this album is that it's one of those albums that had a crazy amount of hype because, all this stuff. I think it was just his label wasn't letting him release it. But I remember hearing about this album like 2 years ago, right? So the fact that an album was that hyped up and he delivered and it still met expectations is incredible to me. And I mentioned it earlier. It's Uzi. I mean, it's fun. You're vibing. It's a good time. Every song is a good time. So yeah, and then he even released the deluxe, which was more good music. So yeah, Eternal Takes my number three. Great album.
Big facts. Uzi went crazy this year. Love to see it. But my number three spot for this year has to be Pray for Paris by West Side Gun. Again, Griselda crew going crazy. Like this, out of all of the albums that I have on my list, this is the hardest album to explain because it's like West Side Gun with his insane voice, the raspy, like just gritty voice, rapping over these very luxurious, I'm in Paris, I'm in Louis Vuitton, spending millions of dollars on designer brand, like these luxury beats. And I mean, I could not be more impressed. I mean, I heard of West Side Gun in 2019. I listened to a couple of his projects and I thought they were okay, but I mean, just with the amazing production that West Side Gun was able to rap over, his bars that you can't get him anywhere else, and then the amazing features that he had an amazing Freddie Gibbs feature, amazing Joey Badass feature, all just everything on this album hit everything. So I would definitely recommend everyone listen to the album right now.
Yeah, Griselda worked so hard this year. I mean, Conway had 2 projects, West Side Gun had 2 projects, Benny the Butcher had a project. So 5 albums, 5 high quality albums combined in the group is just incredible. And on the topic of Griselda, my number 2 album is From a King to a God by Conway the Machine.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, Conway just brings bar after bar, punchlines for days. It's just a testament to hard work. Like I'm blanking on the name, but he had the one song completely devoted to how hard he works, and it shows. The production just matches his tone perfectly. The dark, powerful boom bap sounding beats really just complement his voice and his delivery to put together an incredibly cohesive and incredible project.
Big facts. That album was like number 13 on my list. I absolutely love that album. I listened to it a little bit late, so I didn't have as much time to digest it, but fire.
All right, number two for me has to be the GOAT. Apologies. And I don't know. It was for me. It was one of those things where I really enjoyed it off rip when it released, and then I had a bunch of songs on my playlist, but then I would go back and listen to it all the way through like a couple months later, and it was just as good. And I mean, I'll say it again, he got a lot better this year. He got into a couple, different lanes with his music. I forget what the last song, whatever the last song was called, that was just a changes beat. That one was even like fun to listen to,
Love that song.
and like it was just a lot of I don't know, there's a lot of great music. I don't even know how to explain it, but yeah, up and down that album, I really enjoyed it, and yeah, that's number two for me.
Big facts, big facts. So my number 2 album of the year, Jasper already mentioned it, Leon La Havas. Love that album. Jasper said everything that I was gonna say about this album. Well, I guess I'll give a little backstory on how I heard about Leon La Havas. But I actually heard about her through Fantano. If you know who that is, Anthony Fantano. I might get clowned for watching his videos, but he gave it a great ranking on his channel. So I was like, you know what? Let me go check this out. And he was not wrong. I'm not gonna like, this album is just, it feels like a hug. It feels like a warm hug. I mean, all the way through. Obviously, I already mentioned "Read My Mind" being my favorite song of this year. All the way, like "Can't Fight," Jasper mentioned. "Please Don't Make Me Cry," "Seven Times," "Courage," all of it, amazing. It's just, it's a combination of R&B and folk music that you just can't miss. You have to listen to it this year. Just if you take anything away from this, listen to that album. It's fire. It'll and maybe you might think it's kind of like boring or whatever at the beginning, but trust me, keep listening to it. It'll grow on you for sure.
Yeah, couldn't agree more. My number one album has been mentioned by both of you already. Burden of Proof by Benny the Butcher. I was a big fan of the Plugs I Met, released last year, I think. And he just comes back 10 times better this year with just a project that exudes confidence. I listened to it when it came out. I kind of liked it, but what really made it click was getting denied from my early decision. Got that, didn't get in, put this tape on, and oh my God, it filled me with the confidence boost I needed. And just the incredible intro off, super powerful production that just hits so well. And then the like the cut scenes at the end of some songs, the incredible lyrics, and like I said, the confidence. No album better. It was just so full of confidence, and it filled me with so much confidence. It had to be my number one album. It was so much fun to listen to, and just made you feel good about yourself, and like you were ready to take on the world. So that's why Burden of Proof was my number one album of the year.
Yep. I mean, all three of us have it on our like top 5, right? Or no, I have it 6.
I have it at 8, but it's still a great album.
Yeah,
Listen to that.
top 10 though. All three of us have it on there. Has to be some gas. My number one, okay. I know it was technically 2019, but it was like this Grammy cycle, so I included it. Please excuse me for being antisocial. And this was pretty much like the perfect album for me. I mean, it had, the big hits. The Box was the biggest one, but I mean, there was a few other ones that I thought were, kind of the more, big hit type of songs. And then it had a lot more chill type of songs as well. So, and there's another type of, Roddy Ricch, he kind of, he showed that he's growing a lot with this album, and it was really cohesive, especially because, like I said, the transitions. It was crazy to me how just so smoothly from one song to the next. And so the whole album, there's no skips on it. Literally from top to bottom. I was listening to the intro like months after the albums. I had that on my playlist. I had War Baby on my playlist. Like literally from top to bottom, a bunch of great songs on there. So yeah, I know it's from 2019, but I love that album so much. Yeah, shout out to Roddy Ricch. Anything he touched this year was really just great music, and so yeah, that's my number one.
Roddy Ricch can't miss, and that's that. I don't blame you. Honestly, I respect it. That was a fire album. So my number one album of the year. I don't know. Maybe some of y'all might have guessed it already, but it's Eternal Take by Lil Uzi Vert. I'm sorry, this album. I understand. It's not as lyrical as some of the other albums on my list, but I've been a Lil Uzi fan since like 2016. And he was, going crazy in 2016, 2017, and that man did not release anything for like 3 years. We were waiting so long for this album. I never thought it was going to come out. And I will never forget the day it did. I remember I was in the bathroom getting ready for school. It was March 6th.
Oh yeah, it dropped in the morning. I forgot.
It dropped at like 7:50 in the morning. And I was scrolling through Instagram, and I saw someone post like Lil Uzi just dropped Eternal Take this morning. And like, honestly, I swiped down on my phone to make sure that it wasn't April Fool's Day. I knew it was March, but I had to make sure it wasn't April Fool's Day because I thought it was a joke. I thought there was no way. And as soon as it dropped, it became my favorite album of the year. I could not stop listening to it. It's my most listened to album of the year. Lil Uzi maybe have missed like twice on this album, but other than that, all bangers. I couldn't get enough of this album. It just made me happy. I don't know what other way to explain it. I don't know. Fire album, my favorite album of the year.
That was so much fun too. I just remember that day of school, everyone walking in, all listening to it. Like I remember listening to it in the car, just smiling the whole time. Like, wow, it's really here, and it's so good. Happy. Like,
yeah.
No,
a lot of people said it didn't. It didn't. Yeah, during the free periods too, and a lot of people said it didn't reach their expectations. But for me, it exceeded them. I don't know what else. I couldn't ask for anything more. So
I'm with you.
Yeah. that's that on that. So we went through our top 10 songs of the year. We went through our top 10 albums of the year. So I guess we should move on to the actual awards part. The Flowies, as we're gonna call them.
Yes,
You
sir.
know, you got the Grammys, the Emmys, the Tonys. You got the Flowies. We're gonna do this music thing right. You know, the Grammys have been messing up for years. We're gonna do our own. We're gonna do our own award show.
It's supposed to be
So
like a combination, right? Of like the Grammys and the NBA awards.
yeah,
Little like
yeah,
a
yeah,
little
yeah.
combination. But
We got MVP, most improved, rookie of the year. Like we have some NBA awards mixed in, but you know, it just makes it better. You know, we're just doing it better than the Grammys. The Grammys can't compete.
I think we could all find agreement with each and every one of these categories, with the exception of maybe feature of the year.
Okay, all right, let's see if we can.
All right, I think most improved might be one of the easier categories.
Mhm.
The nominees I had were Polo G, Rod Wave, Jack Harlow. I would include Little Baby, but I have him nominating, in my opinion, winning a different category, so I didn't put him on there.
Yeah,
So those were my three nominees.
sweet. So we're going through all of our nominees right now.
Yeah.
Okay, bet. I wasn't sure if we were saying nominees or not, so this is kind of a troll edition. So I had Lil Baby, which I genuinely think most improved person, rapper, artist of this year. And I also had Logic, which is kind of the kind of a meme edition because you know he's been out here for a long time, but he fell off hard
comeback
for
player of the year. How about that?
exactly. He had an insane comeback. I mean, like if you just look at Confessions of a Dangerous Mind to No Pressure, the improvement is insane. That is the most improved. But you know, it seems kind of not so genuine. So you know, he's just kind of there. It's kind of a meme edition. But then I also had Griselda because I just feel like they took it to the next level this year. With all of the projects that they released, like they were able to go more mainstream, but stick to their roots and just make the music so much better. So that's my three.
All right. So I didn't prepare nominees because I was trying to spend all my time trying to actually pick one. But the two that I was really
So who did you
deciding
pick?
between, I ended up going with Lil Baby, also because I was trying to think of. I think I had a similar situation with you, trying to like not give one award or multiple people one. Okay,
We
not
know what you
give
mean. We know what you
multiple
mean.
awards to the same person. Yeah,
Right,
but I ended
right.
up going with Lil Baby. Polo G was my other one that I was debating between. So I don't know, but I think those two had crazy improvements this year.
Yeah. So my personal pick for most improved was definitely Polo G.
Mm,
I mean, the GOAT didn't feature on my top 10 albums, but it's great through and through. And most importantly, like it's a massive step up. Um, and like just in a sense, like the seriousness of the music. And one thing that really ties together is that last song, the Tupac Changes cover.
beautiful.
I think it's called Wishing for a Hero.
Yeah.
Like that song just kind of symbolized that transition to making top class music. And and I would put Lil Baby on that list too, but OG really improved and created great music this year. So Vern, who
Yeah.
is your pick for most improved?
Yeah. So out of the three people that I nominated, my most improved artist of the year had to be Lil Baby. I mean, he was like a contender for all of our lists. I mean, it's just I don't know exactly how to like. Again, I was having a hard time thinking about how I wanted to explain this because I don't think he necessarily changed anything about how he makes the music. It just seems so much more meaningful and so much more like just so much more eventful, so much more grand. Um, I mean, you had him release My Turn, obviously, which is an amazing album, top 10 album. It was my number six. And then you go from the bigger picture to some other singles that he released this year, all hitting. So that's my most improved rapper of this year.
Yeah. See, I mean, I kind of already said it, but I also had Lil Baby, and I mean, it's probably the same reasons Brandon mentioned. But I think the one thing I want to hit on is the bigger picture because, I mean, like Jasper said with Wishing for a Hero, that was kind of Lil Baby's signal that he's really. I mean, he's going from kind of the Atlanta mumble rapper, which there are plenty of, but he was still making music that people were listening to now he's going to start working harder and improving his craft. And I think that song really exemplified that improvement. But yeah, he had a great year. And Polo G was right there with him. Honestly, it could have gone either way for me. So I don't know who we want to come to a conclusion with. But those two guys both had.
I think it's 2 votes for Lil Baby.
Yeah, yeah. So Lil Baby is the Flowy's most improved artist of the year. That's hilarious. All right, so I guess we should move on to Rookie of the Year. So we should go through the nominees.
I think there's only one option for this one.
I think I know what you're gonna say, and I already agree.
It's Don Toliver. It's Don Toliver.
That's not what I expected.
Who else could it be? Who could it be?
Okay, Chris, did you have any nominees, or you can just say who you thought won, since we're doing that?
So I didn't do nominees for this one at all. I'm gonna be honest. The whole concept of rookie is like, it's weird in music because people are they're already releasing music beforehand. But who I picked was the kid Roy, because he's been going crazy lately. I liked a lot of his music. I know a lot of it is kind of the similar, like he's sad and he's down, but everything he puts out is a joy for me, and he's been blowing up a ton lately. So that's my pick.
Okay. So Rookie of the Year it might have been the hardest I don't know about that, but it was definitely a hard category to pick for. And I wrote all my picks in my notes, and I have 6 different nominees for this because
I can only think of 2.
Really? Okay. Well, it was hard for me because it was like, did they release the best debut album, or was it like, did they make the biggest impact on the culture? Like, because depending on which one we're going with, it could be 5 different people.
Tell us everything.
Okay. So I think the pick that I'm going with, and this we might have to talk about this a little bit, but my pick, after a lot of thinking, I'm gonna have to go with Pop Smoke, because
Okay.
although I don't feel like he was necessarily a rookie, because he was releasing music in 2019 and I heard about him in 2019. He kind of blew up in 2019. He really blew up this year, and obviously I feel like part of that is due to his unfortunate passing. But even before that, with his release of Meet the Woo, I feel like he was already blowing up. He was already a beloved rapper in the scene, and that only was magnified by the release of Shoot for the Stars, Aim for the Moon, and he just released so much fire music. But I Rookie of the Year was tough for me. I don't know. So
Here's what are the other?
Okay.
My other nominees.
The other ones, yeah.
A lot of okay. So I'll just go through all of them. Yeah, they were all Giveon, a singer named Fana Hughes, who isn't very popular, but I think is an amazing singer. Blast, who also is not super popular yet, but I know he's gonna blow up. He's blowing up already. Flo Milli, rapper from Alabama, fire. And then BK the Ruler, who is a fire. I think she's from Atlanta, but she's blowing up as well. Actually blowing up on TikTok. So those are my 5. But like, for all of them, I think that they're great artists, but I feel like they didn't really make that much of an impact on the culture this year. So that's why I didn't go with them, and I went with Pop Smoke. But all of them are great artists.
So I was going off of debut album.
Mm-hmm.
I think mixtapes, you should be able to release as many as you want. Debut album, Don Toliver, Pop Smoke, Jay Electronica. Jay Electronica, I immediately ruled out because there's no way I'm calling him a rookie.
Yeah.
So that leaving between Pop Smoke and Don Toliver. And when it comes to, in my opinion, pure rookiness, it has to be Don Toliver. I mean, just thinking about how much he blew up everywhere, like his hook on Lemonade. He had huge songs. I mean, all those can also apply to Pop Smoke, but I just think that for me, my pick for Rookie of the Year being Don Toliver is because he's been deserving for it so long. I mean, he's been producing incredibly high quality music since 2018. Did Jasper come out this year or last year?
It came out today in 2019.
Okay, so I'm counting it as this year. Like, what was overall a meh project was highlighted by Don Toliver. Like, he started the year showing out on that project, continued it with a great album, incredible features such as Cafeteria by Chase B. Like, he was everywhere doing everything, and he is my pick for Rookie of the Year. Although I do think Pop Smoke is also a solid choice. And I think, Chris, you're going to have to be the deciding vote unless you want to argue for Kid Leroy.
I was so sure you were going to pick Pop Smoke. I was so sure. I was so sure. Anyway, okay.
All right. Yeah. See, I guess I didn't think about it as debut album, and to be honest, I'd have to go back and listen to Have album more to really make it a fair like vote. But I don't know. I guess since you guys sort of both agreed on Pop Smoke, I'll go with Pop Smoke as well. I mean, like I said, I thought his album was also really good, and definitely in terms of impact on the culture, he had that there as well. So
it's weird calling him a rookie because I feel like he's not really a rookie, but that was his debut album, right? Shoot for the Stars, Aim for the Moon,
it was.
Over the Moon. Okay, just making sure. Okay, I feel like that's I don't know. Don Toliver, I didn't think about that. That's a good pick. That is a good pick. So I guess we'll move into Producer of the Year. This is an interesting category.
This one was hard.
Yeah, it was. I'm interested to hear y'all's thoughts on it.
I had 3 nominees: Metro Boomin, The Alchemist, and Hit Boy. I thought Metro Boomin with the 21 Savage project, where I thought he was definitely the highlight of it, for me at least, specifically beats like Many Men. Like, I thought he killed it. I also noticed him popping up in places where he didn't get as much credit, like on Faith. He was one of the lead producers there. So he was everywhere doing a lot, making great music. After that, I have The Alchemist. I mean, we already talked about with Alfredo, like, he didn't miss once this year. I think off the top of my head, I can think of 3 projects he produced: the Conway album with the shark on the front of it,
Yep.
and that The Price of Tea in China and Alfredo, all 3 of which he did his job, didn't miss once. So he definitely brought it this year. And then Hit Boy, we've also talked about him with the Nas album and Burden of Proof, as well as that Big Sean album we were talking about earlier, which is full of incredible production. So those are my 3 picks, and the reason why I picked them. I'm still not entirely sure who I'm going to vote for. I'm leaning towards Hit Boy right now.
All right. Like I said, I didn't have nominees. This one was one of the harder ones for me to pick because I genuinely don't know. I didn't know as many like what producers were producing which songs. So I kind of looked it up, and for me, I'm gonna go with Hit Boy because, I mean, 3 projects that he was on I thought were really good. We talked about King's Disease. That was a great album. And then I think, it says, I'm reading off SSL right now, but it says he executive produced Burden of Proof and then Detroit 2 as well. So all of those were some really good projects. And then also Catch the Sun, Little Baby was another song of My Turn that I thought was really nice. And so he's on a bunch of music that I liked. I honestly didn't realize. So yeah, that's my pick.
I didn't know he produced Catch the Sun. That's honestly one of my favorite songs off that album. I didn't know he produced that. Okay, Hit Boy. Okay. Yeah, this category was like, it was weird for me because I'm just gonna say it, like, my pick for a Producer of the Year is The Alchemist. And it was hard for me to like think about other producers that really killed it this year. But then as Jasper started mentioning them, you have Metro Boomin with Savage Mode 2. And I said, this is our first episode of the podcast. I said 21 Savage was a kind of meh, but Metro Boomin killed it on that project. So, there's that. There's also Hit Boy, who produced a lot of great albums this year. And then you just have Alchemist, who I think just killed it this year. The Price and Tea of China was another album that, it was originally, it was in my top 10, but there are other great albums that kind of pushed it out. But I'm glad that we were able to mention that, because that's another great album that, if you like that kind of Griselda type rap, that's another great album that came out this year. And The Alchemist killed it on there. I mean, we already mentioned Alfredo a lot, but like Jasper said, did miss on that project. And then you also have Lulu with Conway the Machine, did not miss on that. Including he did some production on Only for Dolphins by Action Bronson, which is another top album for me. So I gotta go with The Alchemist. Did that sway
Convincing
you, Jasper?
arguments, but
Yeah.
my vote's for Hit Boy.
Okay.
So
All
I
right.
think that does make it 2-1.
Mhm.
Feature. This one I don't think we're gonna be able to agree on.
This is gonna be really interesting.
We might
I'm
be
so
able to
interested
agree
in
on
this.
we might be able to agree on feature artist. I don't think we can agree on individual feature. Chris, do you want to go first for this one?
All right, so I'm almost 100% sure that you guys did this a little differently than I did, because I went through like my playlist and I was like, which one was my favorite song with a feature on it. So I don't, yeah, I don't. I'm guessing we're gonna have some different picks, but I don't know. It could be, honestly, this could be both for feature artist and for feature, but I'm gonna say Roddy Rich with Rockstar.
Mm.
I remember, and when that song was released, I was enjoying it a lot. And I think Roddy, like I said, anything he touched this year was really good. So that's gonna be my pick. But I'm excited to hear what you guys have to say.
That's fair. That's fair. All right. Who should go next?
You could go, Brandon.
Okay. All right. So for feature of the year, I had a lot of fun doing research for this one. And I actually had 5 verses that could have won in this category, and I'll read them off. So the first one was something
Or I have 4.
Okay, you have 4. Okay. My first one was Tyler the Creator's feature verse on Something to Rap About. Or that was that for most of the year, or after that album came out. That was my favorite feature of the year. Just because I thought Tyler the Creator, he just added so much to that song. I had another Tyler the Creator verse on 327 off of West Side Gun's album. Because I just thought, like, for most of the year it was something to rap about, but then I started listening more to 327, which also featured Joey Badass, who's another person who I thought had a great verse on that album and or on that song. And I thought they both really killed it. And then I already mentioned the What's Poppin' remix with DaBaby and Tory Lanez having amazing verses. So that's my 5. I guess, yeah, Jasper, do you want to go over your nominees?
Okay. So I only have 2 artists in total, but I felt Freddie Gibbs delivered 3 of the best features of the year. The first one, One Way Flight, he delivers the hook, kills it. And then there was just something about the beat like kind of fading out, coming back in, and he's saying, F it, I thought I wasn't going to do a verse, and then just rapping for a minute and killing it. So the hook plus that verse was outstanding. On the Conway album, Seen Everything But Jesus, he busts out his singing chops, and just hearing how he transitioned from singing into rapping was really cool, and the flows he busted on there. And then this one was a sleeper pick. I think it came out this year, I'm pretty sure. Off of O3 Greedo's tape with Kenny Beats at the very start of the year, Netflix in a deal. He finishes the song Disco, SHIT, and there's just something about that feature. I think he switches a flow like every 3 bars and just completes the song in a way that, like, going into it, you don't think O3 Greedo and Freddie Gibbs are going to mesh together on a song. They're just such different styles of music, but they work so well together, and he absolutely completes the song. And I think that was one of his best feature performances of the year. And then my 4th pick is Gunna's verse on the Dior remix.
Wow. Okay.
He adds a lot to the song and fits completely in. Like, it does not feel out of place. And he delivers an outstanding verse to make that song even better. So those are my 4 picks. I don't know if we are going to find common ground, but I did think this section was really fun to do.
Yeah. This is a very fun section. All right. So I think we might. I think we might. But I think the pick that I'm gonna go with is Tyler the Creator's verse on 327 off West Side Gun's album. I thought that verse was absolutely great. The way that he just like he started off rapping, switches full a lot, and also added a little bit of singing in there. Also, just the bars. I should have written them down, but he had some insane bars that were just like, wow, I can't believe he thought of that. So I just suggest y'all listen to that song because it has an amazing Joey Badass feature and a great Tyler the Creator verse. And Jasper, what's your pick?
I think, I mean, it's my favorite song of the years, and Freddie Gibbs kind of made it such. So my pick's going to be One Way Flight.
And you know what? I
And
think we can find common
Chris?
ground because I agree. I agree that would probably be number six. I picked five, but that verse, I love that verse. So you know what? I'll give that. That's it right there.
All right, here we go.
I guess we're going with that. Um, and now it is time for
MVP.
the most valuable artist, MVA.
Oh, crap.
This was going to be very interesting. So, who wants to start it off with the nominees?
I can start with a couple nominees I have. First, Pop Smoke. Great year minus his tragic passing. Second, might be cheating to make it a group, but Griselda, like I said, they were everywhere this year. Then of course Freddie Gibbs.
Mm-hmm.
The Weekend. I mean, Grammy snubbed him, but we're not, at least at this stage of the game. And finally, Lil Baby. I'll talk about him more when I hear everyone else's picks or nominees.
Okay, I'll go next. Like I said, I didn't prepare nominees, but definitely, Lil Baby's definitely would be one of mine. I'm gonna throw Roddy Ricch in there and count his album from last year because it was technically in his Grammy cycle, I believe. So I'm gonna throw him in there, and then I'm gonna say I would say Uzi. He had a
Mm.
great year. I mean, he released the we talked about the one, or has that been even released yet? The one with about the future. Oh man.
Mm.
But yeah, anyways, he released that one with Future that I mean he was better than Future on that album. I
Facts.
think he had a lot of good verses on there. Obviously, EA was great, and then I mean, just looking through my playlist, there were some other features that he was on that I enjoyed a lot. So I'll put Uzi up there.
Mm. And what Chris is referencing right there is I'm just gonna put it out there because if y'all want to see our reaction, we did a reaction video to the Lil Uzi and Future project that came out earlier this year. So if y'all want to see that, let us know in the comments because we'll put it out. We've been holding back on it a little bit because of Christmas stuff or holiday stuff. So if you want to see that, just let us know. But y'all mentioned all of my nominees already. My nominees were Freddie Gibbs, Lil Baby, and Lil Uzi Vert. Lil Uzi Vert had an insane year, dropping Eternal to Take, the deluxe, having a bunch of features that were fire, and then the collab project with Future, Lil Baby releasing My Turn, then releasing The Bigger Picture, then some other fire singles that came out this year, and then Freddie Gibbs with Alfredo and all the other amazing guest verses that he had this year. So yeah, those are my nominees.
Um, I would like to articulate my position for Lil Baby being the most valuable artist of the year. As you two may know, Lil Baby's music hasn't always been my cup of tea, right? I see why people like it, not always been for me.
Mm.
However, it is undeniable the year he had.
Mm-hmm.
He went from the guy who is like, oh, that's the Drake song with the Lil Baby feature, but it's actually a Lil Baby song, but it's Drake. We all know that. To being the number 2 most selling or highest selling album of the year behind Post Malone is incredible. Like, he really came into the game this year swinging, releasing the best work he's ever put out. showing incredible maturity in the songs that we've talked about already. Like the bigger picture. I mean, he did such an incredible job with that. That song within itself puts him in the MVP race. Following that up with My Turn, doing the numbers that it did, being the quality that it was in a year where, like, going into it, January, we were talking, oh, it's going to be Kendrick's year. Oh, J. Cole's releasing The Fall Off. Drake has to have something big in store. When it ended up being Lil Baby's year, when it could have easily been any other big name artist, it is undeniable that he had the most valuable year out of anyone else in the game. And that's why he's my pick for MVP.
That was a very convincing description or explanation. And I'm just gonna say a little bit about, I gotta agree with Jasper because before this year, I'm a little bit more, I'm a little bit bigger of a fan of, like, the style of music that Lil Baby used to make, still does make, than Jasper. But I gotta agree. I mean, I was not a huge Lil Baby fan. I think I'd listened to one of his projects previously before this year, but he just went insane this year and stepped up his musical, or hit the music that he put out this year to a whole new level. So
You are very convincing because for me, I had Roddy Ricch as my number one, as my MVP, but I think a lot of what you said is very true. I mean, honestly, the reason I have Roddy is just because I preferred his album a little bit over My Turn. It was just, I love that album. But all the stuff you said is 100% true. And really, when you think about who won the year, it was definitely Lil Baby. I mean, like Jasper said, the transformation of his position in hip hop, from mumble rapper who got famous from Drake to now he's really one of the better rappers making some really, really, really good music. So I'm more than happy to pick Lil Baby as MVP. So
same. I mean, my original pick was Freddie Gibbs, but I'm, again, more than happy for to pick Lil Baby. So that can be our pick for most valuable artist of the year.
Most improved and MVA. Oh, absolute killer year.
Man.
Insane year. So shout out to Lil Baby. So yeah, that's the last award we got to give out for the Flowies this year. If y'all agree with our opinions, disagree, let us know in the comments below. Do y'all have anything you want to add?
I just want to thank Jasper for coming on. This was a long episode. I appreciate you for coming on as a guest.
I'd like to thank you both for inviting me. That was a lot of fun. I miss talking about music.
I know, right? We need to talk about music some more for sure. And we'll definitely have you back on the podcast. Hopefully when Kendrick releases his next album.
Never going to happen.
Apparently not. Apparently it will not. So yeah, that has been a very long episode of Go With The Flow. Like I was saying before, let us know what you thought about our opinions in the comments below. If you have listened to any of the albums that we listened to and really like them as well, let us know you agree.
If we had any terrible snubs also, like the Grammys did, definitely let us know. Feel free to roast.
Yeah, Phoebe Bridges' album. Everyone's saying that was good.
I've been hearing a lot about that. I didn't have time. I was going to for this episode, but I did not have time.
Yeah, it just didn't happen for me either.
I'm sorry. I'm sorry, y'all. I couldn't get into my artsy bag. I couldn't do
my
it.
Indie bag. Yeah,
exactly. I couldn't get into my indie bag yet. But if we do listen to it, we'll let y'all know. Yeah. If y'all have been watching all this time, we really appreciate that because you're such a real one. I don't know how long this is actually going to be, but it's been a very long episode and we appreciate y'all for watching. So yeah, that's it. See y'all next week or whenever we upload next. Peace.
Peace out.